Hi guys, welcome to our team happy hour. It is the 24th of September, the last one in September. Holy macaroni, where did the time go? I am going to go ahead and share my screen because y'all, we have a freaking amazing guest. I don't think you guys realize, and if you don't realize, I'm about to let you realize. This is Whitney. Whitney is just amazing. This is all of her qualifications, but I've been chatting with her for a while, and she's just such a sweet soul. And she's like, yeah, we've got this big age difference, and I'm like, but I don't feel it because she's just such a sweet. And she's so young at heart, and she's just so much fun to talk to. But she has been around the block or two. You know, she's a busy mama of four. So I know we're all mamas. Well, not all of us, but a lot of us are mamas. This girl, she's got 4 under 8. I have 1. How in the same heck she does it with 4, I don't know. But that's just a remarkable thing on its own. But she is also a 2-star diamond. That means she showed that she's a leader. So she turned herself to diamond, and then she also got 2 other amazing people to diamond also. And she was 3-star at one point, and so that's freaking amazing. She's also a success starter. That means the first 3 months, she hit Success Club, 5 or 10, and was able to earn her free ticket to Summit, which is amazing. I earned Vine, but it's not for this coming up one in Indy. Y'all, Summit is life-changing. Just going to put that out there. She's also a team leader on the leadership ladder, and what y'all don't know is that's huge. I am working towards it. I'm literally 2 challenge packs away from being a team leader. It's huge. But that means she is building a team, and her team is building teams. And so she's just showing that she's able to duplicate and build a successful team. So she knows her stuff. And then on top of all of that, y'all, she's also a Success Club legend. And what that means is she's hit either Success Club 5 or 10 consecutively for 24 months. Y'all, 24 months. That's huge. That shows consistency and drive. And so I am going to stop sharing my screen because I don't want to take any more of this precious woman's time. It's busy mama, and I'm going to let her take it away as she talks to you guys about mindset and just what it takes in the consistency. She also has like a psychology background degree, and so she might just kind of mind y'all a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to happen. It's going to be good. All right, Whit, take it away.
Ready to mess with your minds, right? I love it. Yeah, Allie and I met in like an elite group or elite push group, and we started talking. So I was like, "Here's the deal. I'm just going to humble myself and ask you a question." And then we just kept talking, and like Allie and my relationship, I guess, just reminds me that like you can feel so confident in one area and so insecure in another. And then that person's insecurities are where you're confident and vice versa. And so the more we were talking, we were like, can we just talk to each other's teams? Because I was like, oh no, that's what I'm strong in. And she's like, no, but this is what I'm strong in. And so, yeah, I just love our little friendship that we built. Let me get it because I'm seeing your face really big. I'm going to switch my screen. Bam. Okay, cool. Well, yes, I have actually 4 girls, which makes it really fun. 4 little girls. They're all in bed now. The only reason I'm put together is because we have Monday night church and I had to sing. So I was like, she's going to bust on me because I actually am wearing a bra, whereas you were not last week. But sometimes, not all the time. I just actually am put together for once. It wasn't for you guys. I mean, I kept it. I didn't switch to sweatpants. But yeah, I've been coaching for 2.5 years now. I jumped into coaching after I had my 3rd little girl. I don't know if any of you are similar, but my body started to fall apart. I was overwhelmed, exhausted. It was that whole sob story of just like really struggling. And I saw someone posting on Facebook about healthy eating, and I thought maybe that'll actually help me feel better. And 21-day fix in 3 weeks, I already saw changes in my life, and I had never done anything. I'd never worked out or anything for 21 days in my entire life. And so I sat in a sneak peek and sat on my couch talking to my husband, and I was like, if anything, maybe this will help me to stay consistent in my own fitness. And I had never been consistent with anything in my entire life. And so I jumped in. Like, it was actually April 1st, which is really funny, like April Fool's Day. I'm not an athlete. I it was a joke. In college, I would go to the gym and then I would go to Wendy's for cheeseburgers and fries. Like I was that girl of like, I'll go work out so I can eat that way, but never consistent. Okay. So the fact that I now run a health and fitness business is hilarious. And the only reason that it is where it is because I just stayed consistent, right? It's slow and steady. It's like the tortoise and the hare concept. I am now under one of the top, I am now under like a superstar diamond coach, Dara Distel. She's usually in the top 50. But when I first started, I was under some random local girl. And so I had no training. I had no strong leg of points coming in of team volume. Like I literally just had to figure out how to build this business on my own. I still don't have a strong leg. Everything I do is based on my team. And so it caused me to work hard, right? It caused me to realize that like, if I want to run this business, I think that's where that mindset comes in. Like the reality is like our mind will determine how successful we are in this business. It's not going to be how much weight we lose. It's not going to be how big our team is. It's not going to be any of those things that we think it is, right? And that we tell ourselves all day and we stress ourselves out over. It's all in what we're going to tell ourselves every day, because our mind tells our body what to do. Our mind tells us if we're going to sit down at our computer or not. Our mind tells us if we're going to work out. Our mind tells us if we're going to eat that donut or choose our shake. You know, like it's our mind that's constantly running, right? And I know sometimes people think, oh my goodness, you're just naturally confident. And I'm sure that you either think you're naturally confident or you have people in your life that you're like, no, that girl's just naturally confident. That's why she's better at this coaching thing than me. And the more and more I've been thinking about it a lot this week. And it's something that I even think about with my own girls is like, how do you raise confident women? And I'm realizing the more and more I really dig into it is confidence is learned. And if someone's confident now, it's probably because they may have had a great environment growing up where their mom and dad were constantly saying, hey, you're doing a great job, or you're great at this, or, teachers or coaches were constantly speaking that positivity into their mind. But I know that some of us didn't have that growing up. And so that's okay. Like we can still change our mindset and change those loops in our mind. Because when you think about some of those key things that we tell ourselves, more than likely those are lies, right? Like when you think about the negative stuff that you're thinking through, or when you sit down and you scroll through Facebook and you're like, she's so good at that, or like, man, she's just prettier than me, or she's just better, she just communicates better, she's more vulnerable, she's smarter than me, like people are just drawn to her more. It's really just us telling ourselves that, right? Whereas if we can constantly replace those lies, and that's really what it is, and we'll talk about that in a second, is just really just replacing those like trigger sentences that we tell ourselves. And I think there's like two different types of loops in our minds, right? There's like that we're proud. Okay. So we're telling ourselves, like we're looking through and we're proud, but then we kind of take it to the next level where we kind of think we're better. Right. And we're kind of like, yeah, all right, my selfies are better than that, or my pictures are better than that, or and my workout video was awesome, or my guns are bigger, or, like you can kind of tell yourself that. And there's a piece of that that's good, but I think we can kind of get a little off track there. But then there's also that other side where it's like those phrases, like you can add ER to anything. Like that girl is prettier than me. That girl is more vulnerable, or, more outgoing, or that doesn't make sense. But just, that girl is smarter than me, like maybe you guys are both equally smart. You guys are both equally confident, but we look at someone else and we immediately think, they're just better than me. And that's what I guess I just want to like shut down right now, is that we're never going to measure up to these other coaches, right? It's when we look at these top coaches in our business and we're like, man, like, how are they doing this? They must just be better at this and this and this than me. And maybe there's areas we can grow. There's always areas we can grow. But to constantly figure out how to tell ourselves, like, this is me. Like I have just the gifts that I need to be a uniquely better coach, right? Like a uniquely strong coach. And I think that's what makes us as coaches, like you guys know this, that's what makes it so awesome, is that we get to come in and bring our specific gifts. And so seriously, like take a minute and think through, like, who do my friends say I am? I think that's a great way to really think about who you are. Like, what kind of friend are you? And take 2 seconds and think about it, and I'll share mine, but really think, like, what kind of friend am I? When I think about my friendships, I'm like, okay, I'm the positive thinking friend. You know, I can always help them see the good in something. I'm the natural idiot. Like, I will make someone laugh in the toughest moment. It's probably awkward and inappropriate, but that's who I am, right? Like, I'm a good listener. Like, thinking through some of those things that you're just naturally good at as a friend, and switch it over to your coaching. Like, those are your gifts as a coach. And I think so many times we forget because we get so caught up in, like, oh, but they're doing this and they're saying this and they're wording it this way. And it's like, just be you and be confident in who you are created to be and who you are and the person that you're becoming, and share that with the world, because you guys always hear this. It's nothing new. Someone is going to relate to you so much differently than they're going to relate to me, right? And I think that's why coaching, so that's why, like, even Allie and I are completely different but similar in some ways. You know, we have a passion for people, but we may communicate that differently. And that's why certain people, you guys are drawn to Allie, and that's why my team is drawn to me. And I think that changes everything. You know, we're never gonna measure up to certain coaches. And if we constantly are thinking that we have to measure up, we're never gonna get there. And so I wanted to kind of break it down. This is like the practicalness in me of, like, actually giving you action steps. So I wrote down 3 things of, like, okay, so how do I really believe in myself? How do I stay consistent? How do I feel confident? How do I leave here and rock out the rest of September with that positive mind? So I'm a nerd. So here's your 3, because life-changing, right? No, these are things you guys have heard 1,000 times. But the first thing that I've really learned a lot this year more than ever is to carve out quiet moments. And I know some of you are moms or you're working full time. Allie and I were both talking after our quiet moments this morning. She was like, "You're up early." And I told her, I have to have quiet moments in order to survive the day. I have 4 little girls that pop up by like 6:40. So I get up early. But in those quiet moments, more than just, you know, starting to work right away. I don't know if you have, you know, if your spiritual life and you want to spend time praying, if you want to sit down and journal your day before, I know for me, I do spend time praying, and then I spend time just like talking out affirmations. And I think that is really where the game changer is. And it's saying those things, even if we don't believe them. And I was in a conference about a year ago, and the speaker is amazing. His name's Craig Groeschel. I'm super impressed with his books. I've always been a huge fan of his. And he was talking about his daily routine. And the way he was talking, I was listening, and I was like, he's so disciplined. And then he started to say, and here's what I say every morning. He said, I wake up, and he started to go on this rant of like a 2-minute affirmation that he says to himself. And he seriously is like, you know, I'm a good dad. I love my kids, you know, and he's like, I'm a good husband. I'm going to show my wife attention today. I'm going to give her my focus. Like, I'm going to get my workout done. And he's going on and on and on about who he is and like all these positive things about himself. Right. And he ranted it off like so quickly that I was just like, and so later that day I was talking to my husband who was there with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. He's so disciplined. Like, I'm so jealous of that. I love that. And my husband, Paul, was like, Whit, you know that the reason that he says all those things is because those are actually where he struggles. You know, like he has to tell himself that he's, you know, a good husband because he feels like he's not. And he has to tell himself that he's going to get his workout done because that's the last thing he wants to do that day. And he has to tell himself that he's like the CEO of his company because some days he doesn't feel that way. And he's like, most of the time, if we will verbalize our greatest struggles, we will constantly replace that lie, like we said earlier, of actually believing that those things are true. So all that to say is get those quiet moments, right? And in those quiet moments, actually think about who you are. I want you to repeat the things that you're good at, the things we talked about. What kind of friend are you? Repeat those things to yourself. Repeat to yourself more than your business. Like, who do I want to be as a mom? Who do I want to be as an employee, as a wife, as a coach? You know, all these different areas. Or I'm sorry if there's guys on here. I'm saying a wife, husband, whatever. Some of you are just names, not pretty faces. But say those things to yourself, but you have to get quiet to do that. And I used to think that I could do certain things with my kids running around, and it's not true. So get your quiet moments. That's your first thing. Your second thing would be to know your triggers. And that would be those negative things, or those things that immediately spiral your confidence down, right? So maybe that is scrolling Facebook. Maybe that's following top coaches. Maybe, maybe that's the food in the break room at work, those certain things that are going to immediately put a negative mindset in your mind of, I'm not good enough. I can't say no to that donut. I'm not as good as her. Man, her pictures are so pretty. Oh my gosh, it looks like her and her husband just have it all together. Whatever that is for you, know your triggers. And we call them a trigger because they, as soon as they happen, you have those feelings. So stop scrolling, or go unfollow all those top coaches for a couple weeks so you can really just put your blinders on and figure out who you are, and find out those replacement sentences. And usually for me, I just have one or two things that I say to myself over and over when those negative thoughts come in. And that is, you be you, or, whatever that is. Everyone has their different phrase that kind of replaces that lie. So learn what those triggers are and try to cut them out as best you can. And then find that sentence that just replaces that. And after a while, if you're immediately saying it, totally changes everything, right? And then the third thing is believe in yourself. Duh, that's what we're talking about. But I had jury duty last week, and really fun, right? And in the morning on the second day, I was getting ready, and I put on a more professional look, instead of my yoga pants. And I did my hair, and I put on my glasses, and when I looked in the mirror, I thought of Legally Blonde, and I was like, I totally look the part. Right? Does anyone remember that movie where she just gets in front of the mirror and she looks all lawyerish, even though she's just going to class? Okay. And she's like, I totally look the part. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I totally look like a juror right now. I never got called, by the way. I sat in that room for 4 days and never got put on a jury. I was kind of bummed because I was ready, right? Totally look it. But it got me thinking about coaching. And I remember in the beginning, my coach telling me you just act like a top coach. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have one coach on my team. She's like, I don't care. You talk to people like you lead 100 people. And I think it's the same thing. You look at yourself and then you're like, I totally look the part. I am going to look like a top coach, whether I am or not. And that's where that believing in yourself, or that fake it till you make it, or faith it till you make it, where you just are literally speaking that to yourself so much that when you look in the mirror, you're like, top coach, baby. You guys, I'm not a top coach. My team's growing. We're going to hit elite. We're so close, we're getting there. It's not my goal to be a top 10 coach. I have 4 kids right now. That's going to be later, right? But I am going to talk to my team. I'm going to talk to the public. I am going to talk on my Facebook page and my Instagram stories like I am a top coach, right? Because if people see that confidence and that belief, then they're going to want to either know more about what I do, and 2, they're going to want to be a part of it because it's electric, right? People want to be a part of something that's exciting when they see someone that's so passionate and confident about what they do. So look at yourself in the mirror in the mornings or whenever you go down to work. I literally thought, this is my desk right here, I thought I should put a mirror here because, it's when you're working out in front of a mirror, you're like, oh yeah, doing your country heat, and you're so into it, you're lifting, and you're just like, I'm so beast right now. If you need a mirror at your desk, get one and be like, girl, I totally look the part, right? And then you sit down and you do it like top coach, baby, but you've got to see your own face. So just let it all sink in, right? Those 3 things, your quiet moments, know your triggers. And my best way to say the third one is just totally look the part. Just pretend like that's you, right? And then my final thought is I was talking with my team the other day about just kind of stepping out, and being bold in what we're doing. We talk a lot about consistency, and we were talking through just the analogy of bungee jumping, and how for most of us, bungee jumping is super scary. We would never do it. It sounds ridiculous. Nobody wants to go bungee jumping. And if we do, it's even if you do want to go bungee jumping, right? You think about standing there with this rope attached to your foot on the edge of a bridge, and someone's like, okay, jump. And you're just like, oh my gosh. Okay, so imagine what you'd feel like. Your heart is racing. You're probably sweating. sweat everywhere. And you're thinking, I'm going to die. My poor babies are going to be without a mom. And someone finally like kind of shoves you off the bridge. And even as you're jumping, as you're plummeting your face down to the ground, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to trust that this thing is going to snap me back up. I'm still sweating. I'm probably peeing my pants right now. It's flying everywhere. Like, right? The idea of it is super stressful. Okay. So then at the end, you're like, oh, I did it. All right. So then what if we went bungee jumping every day for 30 days? By like day 15, 20, we'd be getting up to the top, strapping our feet up, saying hey to the guy, strapping our feet. We'd feel a lot more confident, a lot less sweaty, a lot less stressed. And we'd probably be a little bit less butterflies, and we'd start just like jumping off that bridge and like doing swan dives or trying to do flips and all kinds of funny stuff. So you think 30 days after bungee jumping every day, we're not going to be as nervous, right? It's like with anything you do. If you're a singer or if you're in sports or anything, the more you did it, the less nervous, right? I just got up on stage tonight. I'm not nervous anymore. They would all the time. So when we think about consistency in our business, and we think about just that positive mindset, all of that jazz, like think of it as bungee jumping. What if we did it every day for 30 days? So say those affirmations every day for 30 days. Get your workout done every day for 30 days. All the basic things that we're always talking about. Wouldn't we feel a lot less afraid? Wouldn't we feel a lot less scared? And the consistency of us showing up for 30 straight days, right? It takes away a lot of the pressure and all the nerves and all of that. And all of a sudden we see this flourishing business. But it's all about just us jumping. Because if we never tell ourselves to jump, we're going to be standing on the edge of the bridge the whole time. So I love that analogy because I feel like it just connects it all, right? And you're just like, all right, I don't want to go bungee jumping, but I'll send out my invites or I'll press play on my workout or whatever that is. But that's it. I'm sorry, the counselor and me could just talk for probably another hour. But questions, like, is that an area you struggle, or is that something that you're like, I got this, or anything like that?
Okay, I have a few things. I've got notes because like literally you're speaking life into me right now. Just the part of where you're like, just hold on, let me pull my notes up. Just talking about like the gift that you have makes you the strong coach. Like your gift is going to help you relate to your people. I think so much we look at other coaches and we compare ourselves like to their success and think, well, they've only been doing it for 6 months. I know I've done it. I'm sure you've done it one time or two. It's like we look at other coaches that have been in it shorter than us and like they're already 5-star. And you're like, well, why not me? But if we take less time like scrolling and looking and God, I have been literally telling myself that for the last 3 months. And so I've been working on it, but I love that because I think a lot of even newer coaches, we do look for other inspiration and we tell them follow elite coaches, get inspiration. But sometimes we get so consumed in their stories and in their posts and always checking on what they're doing that we're more worried about their posts and their stuff than what we're doing. You know what I mean?
And people won't be drawn to you if you're posting someone else's stuff all the time, and yes, I do get ideas from some of those coaches, but if you're constantly posting Melanie Mitro's posts,
mm-hmm.
they're going to expect Melanie.
If I posted something like Melanie Mitro would say or Ashley Smith would say, that looks nothing like me because I'm throwing F-bombs every other day. Like they would know that that's not authentic. And so like, that's one thing, like if you try to post something like I did or vice versa, it's like, it doesn't flow because they hear how you talk on your stories. So if you try to post things that are just not authentic to you, it just comes off like, oh, she's fake because she's acting one way and then she's posting this way. And then also the negativity and like putting that word into your head and keep talking the positive thoughts into you whenever you've got your triggers. I love that. And having that phrase and how it becomes second nature. I've never figured out how to do that, but that's something that I'm working on. Just like meditation is something I'm working on. It's still a work in progress. But I love that. And then the phase that comes after, like just, God, I just loved everything. But everybody can say stuff because I'm talking so much. Does anyone have any questions first? Because yeah, she's like good on mindset and good on all this, but she's also tenured into this business. So does anyone have any questions? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Anyone? No? Y'all don't be shy now. Y'all usually ain't shy. What do you find? Okay, so I'll ask since nobody else is talking. What do you find that contributes to the Success Club legend? Because that's huge. Like, I don't think anyone like here realizes how huge that is, but that's huge. So why do you think you've been so consistent over the last 24 plus months to be able to earn that title?
Yeah, and I think that's the word. It's consistency. I feel like, and that's actually something I really struggle with, which is really interesting that I'm like, oh yeah, it's being consistent, because my husband and I just had a huge conversation about a week ago, and we both affirmed, like, I'm struggling with consistency. It wasn't in the business per se, but it was just in all these areas of my life. So I've like regrouped in the last week. So it's interesting and a gift that this was one area I have stayed consistent in, was my business. But my dishes or my laundry, no. Okay. So that's going to change. But
so how are you going through the process?
I showed up. I showed a workout of regrouping.
Yeah, what does your process of regrouping looks like? Because I think a lot of us are in the realm of trying. I know a lot of them are in the realm of trying to learn how to wake up earlier, or just being more consistent and trying to set intentions with invites and stuff like that. And so how do you find that it makes it easier for you to be able to regroup?
Yeah. Well, I've always been an inviter, and I've always been a consistent poster. And I think that that's where the consistency pays off. Like, to answer your first question about hitting Success Club every month, or I was telling her, I don't even know if it's 5 or 10 or whatever, but over the course of these years, I always hit Success Club, at least the bare minimum. And it's because, number one, I just show up every day. Of course, things are different now on Instagram. I may not post in a day or whatever, but that type of thing. Showing up in my workouts, showing up with my food, showing up with just kind of what my day-to-day life looks like. And people are attracted to that, right? And they want to know more. Another thing is sticking with the business longer than a year is honestly what it is. So 2.5 years in, I've had coaches come and go. I've had friends, new friends, like the coaches that have come and go. And now I'm coaching their people. 3 coaches on my team. Coaches quit a couple years ago, and now they're on my team, rocking it. I think that that's it too. Like, you stay consistent, and then people are drawn to someone who has actually done the business longer. People start and stop stuff all the time. And so I think showing consistency there. And then finally, and then I'll get to your question, just balancing my home life. That's really, I feel like usually when I'm disciplined in one area, a lot of the other areas fall into place. If I can get disciplined with a schedule, things start to fall into place. I get up early. I am an early riser, not because I like to. I force myself. I read Miracle Morning. I fall asleep
that changed my life. That book literally changed my life.
I fall asleep every night telling you guys, my kids are up all night still, not my 8-year-old, my little ones. I was up with all 3 last night. Okay. So no more excuses, right? I literally tell myself as I fall asleep, I cannot wait for 5:40 in the morning, that early. Yeah. It's amazing. I can't wait to wake up.
Do you still tell yourself that you're not going to be tired in the morning? I'm find myself laying in bed saying, I am so excited to only get 4 hours of sleep. These 4 hours of sleep are going to be just what I need. And then in the morning, it's like words of affirmation. You speak it into existence. And then, it's like on Christmas morning where you're like, if you tell yourself you're going to be tired, you're excited to wake up. So you don't care if you have 3 hours of sleep. But if you tell yourself you're going to be tired, then you're going to be tired. But if you tell yourself you're going to not be tired, you might still be tired, but you might not feel it as much.
Yep. And I literally tell myself, this is your time without all those crazy kids. You're going to get your coffee and you're going to sit here and it's going to be quiet. And so that's like, okay, yeah, get up. So that's it too. I forgot the second half of your question. Oh, just consistent in life. So what my husband and I were talking about, he was actually helping me. We could go off on a tangent on this, so I'll try to just hone it in. But with Lift 4 launches, now everyone gets Lift 4, but we also kind of have Shift Shop, but then people are talking about Transform 20. We still have 2B Mindset. And so I was sharing with him, for once, I kind of feel like I'm not sure what I want to do and what I should be doing. And so he just reminded me, okay, what do you want to do? Choose whatever workout you love. And I was like, oh, you're right. I don't have to do shift shop if I want to do lift 4 again. You know, it was just little things like that I got really caught up in the stress of watching what other people do.
Feeling like you're going to miss the boat on something. I mean, I think that's huge with Beachbody, especially since we've got so many launches coming out. Y'all, we don't have to do everything when everybody else does it. So I'm not talking about shift shop at all because I'm doing Transform 20. So I'll be talking about lift 4 until I talk about Transform 20. Maybe shift shop just got the short end of that stick, but I mean, that's what I'm doing. But maybe you're going to be obsessed with shift shop. And so that's all you want to talk about. That's the best thing about our business is it's ours and we get to talk about, Ashley, my coach, she has the best analogies. She acts like every single one of her follows know absolutely nothing about Beachbody. They don't know when a new program's getting released. They don't know when, like, that there's another, you know, that there's something going on big, like, or one of those flash sales, because we never did the flash sale. They don't know about that stuff. Some of them do. You might miss a few people, but as long as you're staying authentic to yourself and keeping your sanity, that's all that matters at the end of the day, especially with 4 little ones. But yeah, I love that. Just consistency. How many invites have you consistently done over the 2.5 years to be able to always manage to hit Success Club? Because I do like an insane amount, so sometimes I feel like that's unobtainable because I literally send 60 every single day since day one. And that's not what everybody does. And so it's nice to hear from someone that's been successful.
I go through different seasons, and I remember in the beginning I did 3 to 5 a day, probably about 4 to 5 days a week. And those would be, in the beginning, I only invited to challenge groups. That's dumb. Invite to coaching right away. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Okay? If you're new, invite to coaching. I
struggle with invites to coaching so bad.
I wish all my coaches are hitting diamond, but it's because I didn't sign them when I first started. So sign coaches in the beginning, then they will build with you, and then you will hit big goals together, like on the same playing field. And then I went through about 6 months into my business. I got to do a training, my first time in like a superstar training where I got to like learn from someone because I hadn't been coached by anyone yet. And they talked about the 100 no's, the go for no. And so I used to try to get 100 coach invites a month. So that only broke down to like 25 a week. So it wasn't that, what is happening? Now I feel like I need to read all this.
Brittany has chickens, and Heather's saying she struggles at waking up. So I was like, Brittany probably has roosters that wake her up.
There you go. Send your rooster. All I heard was chickens. I'm like, I have to stop. Or all I read was a rooster waking her. And I'm like, I need to read this really quick. I know.
Yes, go for no. I love that.
Moms, though, Peter Rabbit. Anybody watch that with their kids? Okay. Where he's like, the sun came up again. That's like how we have to feel in the morning. Like when the rooster's freaking out, that's what I feel like. That's how I need to be. The sun came up again. I'm awake.
I love it. I love it so much.
So I did the go for no's, 100 coaches a month. So lately, my team and I have been trying different things. Last week, we tried 40 invites a day, but I had jury duty. I couldn't get to it. This week, I'm trying 20 a day. I would basically say I do these blitzes. Because I have a really funky schedule and I'm actually incredibly busy. I'm like that stay-at-home mom that's never home. So I will do like 30 coach invites one day and then wait 2 or 3 days and do another. So I would balance out that I probably get about 30 to 40 a week of coach invites, and probably around the same when it comes to challenge groups.
Okay. And that's been consistent throughout your except during the seasons of you did a little bit more.
Yeah, there's seasons where I've done more. There's months where I've done less. Like this month, my sister got married and jury duty. When I look back at my numbers, like they're not as big, which is why my Success Club numbers aren't as high. The months that I've hustled, my numbers are high. Yeah. I have a calendar right here. I'm really visual. I'm like nerdy visual. So although everything's online, I wrote down, help one person every day. And then when I help someone and they actually order, I write their name down. And that visual for me that I've been doing for the last 3 months was really good. Because sometimes you think you're doing stuff and you're not.
I have sticky notes all over.
Yeah.
Like sticky notes rule my life. And that's how I visualize everything, which I just lost my sticky note. Where did it go? That's giving me
See,
anxiety.
that's why I have a calendar.
It's in my planner
Yeah.
where I am a big to-do lister. And I have this note section. Oh, hourly planners. I'm that ADD that I have to plan my day hour by hour. Brittany had a question. What question did you have, Brett?
So my question is, I only have one child and you have four. So I was wondering how you prioritize your time so that you always just like do things efficiently, because lately, like, I'm still pretty new to this, so I'm just trying to like make sure that I separate them a little bit, so my time, like, I'm not on my phone constantly when my daughter's awake and stuff. So that, I think that's my biggest struggle. So how do you manage your time properly, like, to make sure
Yeah.
your kids get all of the attention that they deserve too?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I always call it balanced grit, because you have to find that balance of your coach life, your mom life, your wife life, your other people life. But then you also, if you want to build a business, you do have to have grit and that like hustle mentality. And so we talk about that a lot, is that balanced grit. It's like figuring that out. I wake up early, like I said, that really helped, because I used to wake up to the girls and I was constantly feeling like I kind of want to look at my phone, but I know I shouldn't, that type of thing. So I do wake up early and read, and then I usually get about 40 minutes before someone wakes up. And usually it's kind of my older ones that they sit next to me and they read, and sometimes they talk, but at least I can do a few things. And then I made a commitment a little over a year ago to work from my computer, and that changed a lot for me. And I know that some people can't because you're always needing to work on the go, but for the most part, so I turned off my notifications on my phone, and I don't see when things pop up anymore, and I'll stay focused on my computer. So right now, it's kind of nice for me. I don't know how old your daughter or boy or girl is, but I now have like one in preschool, two in school, and then a baby, and she still sleeps in the morning and the afternoon, and I'm going to hold that for as long as I can. So like today, I probably had about an hour while she was napping, kind of take that time. But then when we go to pick up Presley from preschool, like I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted. And even sometimes I'll get in the car and I'll start to look, and it's like I said, that trigger. And I'm like, no, put that down. I'm like, stick it in the diaper bag. I'm like, don't touch that phone. And I like putting the phone down really allows me to focus in on her. And I know with Instagram stories, we're trying to capture every moment. And I just remind myself, like, this moment doesn't need to be captured. Or if it does, take a picture, put it away, and post it later. Most of my Insta stories are actually posted a couple hours later, because I don't want to miss the moment. And then again, like you said, if you have an afternoon napper or after they go to bed, I do always talk to my husband on Sunday nights about my week. And I'll say, hey, is like for tonight, is Monday night after church. I know there's a Steelers game on. I'm going to do a call with my girl, Allie. And he's like, cool. So then he doesn't feel neglected, because
I get an uninterrupted game.
I know, right? Now he's probably like, great, you're not bugging me, talking to me during the Steelers game.
My husband's downstairs watching it.
Yeah. Or sometimes I'll sit next to him, but I'm on my phone. So it really, I know that doesn't totally answer your question, but I really do just try to ditch the phone, and that's huge. And if my girls are playing and I'm cooking dinner, I will get it out a lot, and I'll voice chat sometimes because they're all entertaining each other. So you can find those mom pockets, but for the most part, I do this. And actually starting tomorrow, I did hire a sitter to watch my two little ones for 3 hours in the morning, 2 mornings a week. We're trying something new. I did that during the summer and I really liked it, because then it was like nothing the rest of the day. Like when they come home at 11:30, I'm all theirs the rest of the day. I didn't even feel that pull at their rest time. So I'm going to try that, because for me, it was beneficial. But I know that that's not everybody's thing, and that's fine. But
that's something I super struggle with. Like in my 3-year-old even's like, Mama, no work. And I have to be super intentional because I am in this growth phase. And I did retire myself very early, probably more earlier than I should have, but I was like suicidal at my job. And so I've had to find the balance, and it's still a growing act. But I like now I've started doing my workouts. Well, today's the only day, but like mid-afternoon, and I loved it today because that means in the morning I got 30 minutes to read my book, do my affirmations, and then work for 2 hours before she wakes up for school, and then work for 3 hours while she's at school and do my workout with her. And she loves it. She loves that step, even though like I have to yell at her so I have to get her own little step because she needs her own little step now. But I think that's working. And it's just all about finding what works best for you and your family. And I did just recently turn my notifications off because I did find every time a message would come in, I'd be like looking at my phone and I feel like I had to respond right then and there. They can wait. Our family can't all the time. And so I set pockets of time when I'm going to reply to messages. And if I don't reply to theirs, then it'll go to the next day. If they want to be with you, you're not going to miss the boat. You're going to still be there.
It's not. I treat all messages like you would an email. It's not a text. I'm like, nope, they don't need me right away. My people know that. My coaches know that. I always tell them I will respond within 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard from me and it's an emergency, pop it again so it pops back up, and I'll make sure to look at it sooner. They know that, and so it makes it okay. And yeah, there are times that I work when they're awake or playing around, and I just communicate with them. I'm like, hey, girls, give me 30 minutes, especially in the summer. So I don't know, how old's you say your daughter?
She turns 2 next month, so she's
okay.
Totally unaware of what's going on.
Not a baby, not a kid you can reason with right now. Whereas my older girls, I was like, put on a movie. So yeah, no, me trying to work with my newly 1-year-old, nuts. She messes with my computer, whatever.
Yeah, we're going through a phase where she doesn't want to take her afternoon nap, and that's like when I've been doing most of like my messages for the day. So that's kind of been like a struggle.
Yeah, and there's seasons, and I'm definitely like the queen of seasons, and you have to expect them. Like, we're going into the fall, schedules are going to change. We're about to have Thanksgiving and Christmas, schedules are going to change. You're going to want to do different things with your time. So I always just look at the month, like, what does the month look like? Or Sunday nights for me, I'll map out my week. Like, okay, if she's not going to nap, maybe I need to plan to work an hour after she goes to bed and just like what makes me happy. Like for me, I'm a coffee drinker, but I don't want to drink regular because I want to go to bed. So I'm like decaf coffee because something about just like the taste, the mug, then I'm in the zone. So like figure out what gets me in the zone, even if I don't want to be working now.
Yeah.
That's me. I have a playlist on my Spotify that I use just for work. And so when I listen to that playlist, like I know this is, and it's something mental. I only use it for work. Like I don't use it for like at the coffee shop or if I'm just in the car. I only use it for work. And it's something that triggers my mind. It's like, this music means it's work. And I'm just sitting here typing away, singing away. And I don't know why. It might be something I heard on a podcast, something. I don't know.
That's perfect. Songs and smells.
Yeah.
If you think like.
I'm sure it was on a podcast somewhere.
Those will trigger. So for me, it's probably like the smell of coffee. It like gets me in that work mode. And so, yeah. Or light a certain candle or whatever it is, like get you in your spot.
And one thing that I have found that's worked for me is doing a brain dump before I go to bed. So I have my little section in my notes of my planner that I put to do. And I just dump everything that I think I need to do. Even my workout, I put like taking out the stuff out of the fridge, dinner out of the fridge, or if I need to post something, I put it all there. The gratification of crossing it off, it makes you feel like you're doing something, because so many times I would do so much work in the day and I'd be like, what did I just do? And so at least you get the gratification of crossing it off and planning your day the night before. Yeah, it's gonna vary a little bit, but if you know, okay, she takes her nap at this time, or she wakes up, does Liv wake up pretty much consistently at the same time yet, or no? Oh, she's going through that phase.
Yeah, we're going through a rough phase right now.
But also communicating with the husband. I am the queen of not communicating with my husband, so I'm preaching to the choir here, but I am trying my hardest to say, okay, so these nights I've got calls, and these nights, this week is all calls because I got my sneak peek at 9:00. So it's every single night at 9, but I try to communicate with him, and so he's not pissed off at me and feel like I'm taking away time from us. Because right now we're in the growing phase. We're not having much financial impact, so our husbands aren't really seeing, oh, this is an actual business because you're putting in all these hours and not getting paid for it. And I've just had to be very transparent. Like every time I make a sale, I'm like, oh my God, honey, like I just helped somebody, like, and celebrating all those things. And then he realizes like, oh, this is actually a job. Like you're actually doing stuff. And so men just don't get it most of the time. If you have one of those rare breed husbands that get it, let him talk to my husband because mine doesn't. But all right, I'm going to let Whitney go. Anybody else have any last minute questions for her? Anybody? Thank you so much, Whitney. I really appreciate it. And you did speak so much just mindset, and I love that, and all the little nuggets that I took away from it. And I'm sure the other girls did too. Because I do say that's one of my like struggles. I struggle with talking about mindset. But I am very good at analytical. You guys know I'm a process queen. I can give you a process for anything, but trying to speak motivation and inspiration, it works, but then mindset, I'm like, working on it. But she's awesome.
Oh, now you say I'm awesome at mindset. I can speak belief into anyone.
Yes. Affirmations. You got it, girlfriend. Alrighty, I am going to let you guys go. Y'all, we've got 6 days left in the month. Let's keep hustling. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.